By the time you're watching this, I'll be taking on the Lollipop 240-mile self-supported FKT. This will be the hardest physical and mental challenge that I've faced to date, and I decided to undertake this route about a week ago. Well, that's not actually true. I've been training for this route for at least a year now. It just so happens that due to a tough racing schedule, due to training, due to the climate of Florida, it is hot in summer, winter, spring, fall. Any given weekend, it can be like 90 degrees. And every weekend that I wanted to do this route, it was just hot as hell, and I could not fit it in until right now. Now, if you're watching this the weekend this is posted, you can follow along my journey using my Strava Beacon. This is linked down in the video description. You can also find me on Facebook. I'll be doing live updates, doing some posts there, some constant updates, and it's going to be really awesome just sharing the whole trip with you. So now you may be asking, what the hell is the Lollipop 240? A lot of people I know in Florida, they know of the route, or they're at least aware of the route. For everyone else, this is a 243-mile out and back. You start at Hobe Sound Beach, you go out to Lake Okeechobee, around Lake Okeechobee, then right back to the beach, and this totals, like I said, about 243 miles. Now this FKT essentially has two major components to it, one being the Lake to Ocean Trail. This is a 62.5-mile trail that goes from Hobe Sound Beach out to the lake. This is almost entirely on trail, underwater. There's a few road crossings, very, very minimal, but you're essentially in the middle of nowhere, and it is brutal. It is tough, but it is the most beautiful trail I've ever been on, and I look forward to hitting that trail no matter what time of year, even if it's hot as balls, or like in this case for this weekend, gonna be a little bit cooler. So the next part of this course, the second biggest aspect, is the Lake Okeechobee Scenic Trail, the Lost Trail. This is 118 miles all the way around Lake Okeechobee. You're running on the dikes around the lake. It's a dedicated route, very, very few divergences from the lake. This is gonna suck. This is gonna be where the race is gonna suck, and I'll go into why it's hard and why I'm excited to do this. But just know that this is a paved trail. There's one side's the lake, the other side is nothing, and this is gonna be the biggest mental test. But again, this is pavement. I'm gonna go over my strategy in a minute, but once you're done with the Lake Okeechobee Scenic Trail, then you're right back on the Lake to Ocean Trail, another 62.5 miles in that wet, swampy stuff, in the beautiful trails, right back to the beach. You jump in the water, and you are done with the route. I should mention this route has two official finishers, both of which were crewed, one being Andy Matthews. He was the first official finisher, and the second is Louis Coco. He recently beat his time by a few hours. Both of those guys were crewed. I am doing this self-supported, which I'll go into that as well, but I'm going to be doing supply drops. I'm going to be pushing a stroller around the lake. So there are a lot of logistic nightmares that go into this, and it's going to be quite the challenge. But first, I kind of want to delve into why the hell am I even doing this? There's no buckle, there's no, it's not a race, it's an FKT. You just choose a day, go out, and you partake. The first reason for doing this is just I have the itch to do something crazy. I think this also stems off of just DNFing Death at Dupuis, a backyard ultra I just did, and having really subpar results. Like, I'm still embarrassed about that. Even though I really shouldn't be, I still feel a bit embarrassed, and so I've dedicated myself to training for Cruel Jewel 100, which is in 6 weeks from right now. So I've essentially had 6 weeks of really, really good training, 6-7 weeks, and I have another few weeks until Cruel Jewel 100. But I just have the itch to do something right now. Like, if I go 6 weeks without doing a race or a route or something insane, then I start going absolutely stir crazy. So I just want to get out there and show that, I am as tough as I keep saying. I can talk a big game and back it up. And I really think during Death at Dupuis, I quit early mentally, and I kind of need like a mental comeback just to boost myself up, and just to unlock that door in my brain that says, hey, you can do the most crazy shit you can come up with. Another reason, as mentioned, is that I checked the weather this weekend and there was a cold snap coming through, and so this essentially means that instead of being in the 90s as a high and a low in the upper 70s, it's going to be a high of around 80 and a low in the mid 50s. So this is perfect conditions. I'll be able to do this self-supported, and it's cool enough to where I'll be able to move fast and still, break a sweat, but not cold enough to where I'm going to be freezing, stop to rest on the trail, and then wake up and just be completely frozen. So it's ideal conditions, and I had to take advantage of it because, like I said, I have Cruel Jewel coming up. I got some crazy races this year, and it doesn't look like I'll have a chance to take on this route until at least a year from now. And I really want to be the first person to do this self-supported. That is big to me. I want to be able to say that I was the first one to complete this self-supported. There can only be one first time accomplishment. And unfortunately, I can't take the first finisher of this loop. That's Andy Matthews. So I can at least do the first self-supported. And that really does mean a lot to me. Now, why is this hard? As mentioned, there's buckets. I have to do supply cash drops. Just like my Just Survive 125 race, I'm going to be putting buckets in the exact locations along the trail, filling them with food, with water, and I'm going to try to stay really light and move really fast on the trail. Another hard aspect is the stroller around the lake. I was really against pushing a stroller around the lake, but now that I'm thinking about it, I'll be able to pack ramen noodles, my camp stove, some instant coffee, a sleeping bag. So while I will be slower on the lake, I think my legs will be fresh from not having to carry as much shit on the Lake to Ocean Trail using those bucket drops. And I think that I'll have a very consistent, steady pace around the lake, pushing that cart with all my water, all my supplies. Yes, it's not as quick as running it, but I won't have a big pack to carry. So it's going to suck, but it's just going to suck in different ways other than, with a big heavy pack. Like a heavy pack, I'll be able to have a nice power walk and a trot. But I feel like after, 200 something miles, it's gonna really weigh in my shoulders. So I'd rather save those shoulders, save those back, save those quads, save those hamstrings, and just push a cart a little bit slower. And I think strategically that's going to be the best route. And the last two scenarios, why this is hard is what I mentioned. The Lake to Ocean Trail, the first and the last 62 miles, absolutely beautiful, but they can be brutal conditions. And then Okeechobee Scenic Trail, easy, paved, but boring as shit. It's going to be 118 miles. I'm estimating, I'll go over what my estimates are, but it's going to be a lot of time going in a circle, looking at the lake, if you can even see the lake, looking at, Pokey, Clewiston, all these towns with like not much going on. So it's going to be as much of a mental challenge as a physical challenge. Goals. What are my goals? 72 hours. This is my A+ goal. This is what I really want to hit. This is essentially 16 hours to get out to the lake from Hobe Sound Beach. So that's 62.5 miles covered in 16 hours. When I did Just Survive 125, which is an out and back on the Lake to Ocean Trail, I did the outboard portion in about 13 and a half hours, spent about 45 minutes at the end of it, just resupplying, resting, and then about 16 and a half hours coming back with tired legs, beat up legs. So I think 16 hours for the first part of the journey with the same exact bucket stops, with cool weather. I think that's really, really doable. And I think I can do it in 15 hours. Next is the Lake Okeechobee Scenic Trail, 118 miles, as stated many times. I think I can do this in 36 hours. 36 hours, again, bit aggressive, especially with the push cart. I don't know how that's gonna play into my speed, my pacing, but I think 36 hours for 118 miles is very doable, even with 100 cam legs before that. And then finally coming back around to it on the way home, the last 62.5 miles, I think I can do this in 20 hours. It's going to be rough with 180 miles on my legs, but 20 hours with water, with food every 15 miles, packing really light. I think that's very doable. Now my secondary goal, we're looking at 84 hours. I'll do this a little quicker, but this is a really conservative 20 hours out on the Lake to Ocean Trail. It's 40 hours to go around the lake, and then I'm cheating a little bit, 24 hours to come home. That last 62.5 miles, 24 hours. I think 84 is extremely doable. This factors in a lot of time sleeping, a couple hours of sleeping and rest breaks. So I think I'll be able to do 84 with little effort. 72 is going to take a big effort. 84 I think I can hit. This is all just estimations. I could be way off, which is why I also have a C goal of 96 hours. So this is, again, that first 20 hours out on that first part. I should be able to do the first part in 20 hours with a broken leg. This shouldn't be that tough. The next would be 48 hours around the lake. I don't want to spend 48 hours going around Lake Okeechobee, but yeah, I have the time if needed to. And then finally, again, I'm cheating with my computer over here, 28 hours for that final journey. So a day and some change to come home, last 62.5, really slugging it. I don't think I'll hit 96. 96 would be, I'm really struggling. If I'm taking that long, I probably am dealing with an injury and I'll probably call it. Again, this is all, maybe I'm having a good time, maybe I'm camping, maybe I'm taking like a 3-4 hour power nap, sleep. So 96 hours, like I'm not saying I'm gonna just shatter that, but it seems like if I do that, then I'm either having a really, really good time hanging out, on Lake Okeechobee, or I'm having a really bad time. So my strategy for this, this is an FKT. It's supposed to be a little competitive, but I don't care. I'm not hiding anything at all. So my strategy is to pack super light, carry bare minimum water, bare minimum food on that first 62.5 miles, hit the bucket stops, fill up real quick, don't spend any time there. This is no room for luxuries. Food, water, get your ass out of there. Maybe a little caffeine to keep me jazzed up. After the getting out to the lake, this is where I'm gonna pack heavy. I'm packing extra stuff in the cart, my push stroller. The way I think of it is that an extra 2-4 pounds on your back, you're feeling that. That's weighing you down. Pushing an extra 2 to 4 pounds in a stroller, not going to say it's negligible, but it's very, very minimal compared to carrying it. So this is where I'm going to have my camp stove, ramen noodles, instant coffee. I'm going to put a sleeping bag. My goal for this is to give myself luxuries, because I may need some luxuries at this point. I was thinking about doing this route unsupported entirely, bare minimum, and I was really stressing out. But now the thought of, yeah, pushing a cart's gonna suck, but being able to open a sleeping bag, sit there, make myself a coffee, make myself a hot soup, and just regroup for 30, 45 minutes, an hour, I may need that. And like I said, I'm not discounting that it may take me 84, 96 hours for this. I may just be having such a good time, and I may be tired, but physically and mentally feeling decent. So I may decide just to do it slow and steady and just complete it if I need to. Now the return trip, here's where I'm gonna kind of play it by ear. What I could do on that last section of the trail, that last 100K, is I could do the same thing as going out. Pack light, focus on the goal, and just really send it, really crush it. Alternatively, I could decide to pack a little heavier, take it slow, just try to finish this darn thing. And I'm gonna make that decision as I go, because at each of these buckets that I have along this Lake to Ocean trail, I have them filled with more stuff than I think is necessary. That way, if I'm really hurting, pack extra food, pack extra water. I have a water bladder, a filter, so that if I'm really, really dragging ass, I can filter some of that delicious, delicious swamp water out there. So I'm really hoping I could hit this last section fast, but if it's just, hey, let's get this finished, then I'm all for that. Now, kind of switching gears to my major worries and my major motivations. My major worries for this are that people are going to screw with my buckets. Physically, I'm feeling good. Mentally, I'm feeling really good. My biggest fear is that my buckets are out there. Not necessarily even the buckets, because I can survive the Lake to Ocean Trail. It's the Lake Okeechobee Scenic Trail where I have to push that cart. Like, if I don't have those supplies, I'm screwed. I need to, it is a very, very difficult route to do unaided. There is barely any, there's water fountains, but I'm not sure if they all work. I need to make sure I know where they are. There's convenience stores, but again, these are very sporadic. And if I get to that lake and someone had moved the stroller, stolen it, trashed it or something, then it's going to be probably even more of a mental hit than anything, just knowing that I was preparing for a certain way to do the route and wasn't able to do it that way. So again, that's my major concern, is just making sure my supplies aren't messed with. The other concerns are, carrying too much or too little around the lake, the difficulty pushing the stroller, really the mental stuff, really the mental strain. Logistically, a lot of things need to go right for this thing. This is the longest distance I've ever done, so I need to make sure that I pack enough to get me around there, but not too much to where I have to shed gear as I go. Like, need be, I will just dump water, dump food, leave supplies on the trail for other, people, or to come pick up later. But that's my fear, is just making an error in judgment. Now, my major motivation. There is a lot of motivation. Like I said, my training, it's been going incredibly well. I'm feeling at my peak physical shape. I have the drive, the motivation to do something insane, to do the first unsupported traversal of this route. Traversal of this route. Additionally, I'm excited to go around the lake. As much as it's going to suck, I'm excited to to essentially fast pack plus it, have, you know, I don't want to, in my head, I don't want to make it seem like this is going to be a picnic, but really being out there, being on my own, carrying all my gear, stopping, you know, taking a nap, making food, like really just, it's a mental thing. I need a win right now. I need to go out there. I need to show myself that I'm strong enough to do this and just experience it and have a journey. These long efforts, especially when you're just alone, these are journeys. You find stuff out about yourself that you can't find out unless you are in this certain situation. It doesn't have to be 240 miles. It can be much less than that. But for me, when I did my cross-border 200 miler with Matt Clapper, man, I found out so much about myself. And mentally, I was in a whole different place after that. I talk about this a lot. I'm going to talk about it more. I have a podcast episode. This is not a running podcast episode coming up about the mental aspects of unlocking something in your brain when you do these crazy events. So I need something like that right now, because I'm not going to go into it. If you're close to me, you know about my life, but I've had some stresses right now. Nothing that I can't handle. I think my family can't handle, but I've had some pretty big family stressors that again, not going to talk about it because everything is okay. My life's okay. My family's okay. It's stuff to where I'm going to stop talking about it because I'm not going to disclose anything, but I need to go out there. And luckily my wife, she is loving my life. She loves me enough to know that, hey, he needs a couple of days out in the woods, out destroying himself, that he can come back and be stronger than before. So I'm really appreciative to her that she's letting me do this. And I'm good, but every once in a while I need a win. And this is a win that I really need. I will say in closing that my last race, I DNF'd it. It's a backyard ultra, so there's only one winner, so everyone else DNFs it, but I did about half the mileage that I intended to do. I hit about 104 miles. I was going for at least 200 miles. So I know that's a ridiculous goal, and to say I'm disappointed because I hit 100 plus miles, especially when I came out of it feeling good and went right back into training. I know that's silly. I know it almost feels kind of selfish, but hitting that, saying that, I am less worried about this than I was about Death at Dupuis. The reason for this is that at Death at Dupuis, I quit because I got to a certain point and I told the race director, I go, man, if I could just have an hour to sleep, I could do another 100 miles. When you're doing a self-supported attempt like this, there's no time limit. You're just doing it. There's no one else that has completed this route before. So all I have to do is do it and I get the self-supported FKT. And I'm not doing this for the FKT, but that's kind of just a stress relief out there that no one's done this before. I'm the one doing it. I set my own rules. Hour nap, 2-hour nap, that's fine. It doesn't matter. Just go out there and have an adventure. So there's literally no pressure on this. And it's nothing but an adventure. It's a test of endurance. It's a test of strength. But first and foremost, it is a crazy, incredible adventure. Now again, just to wrap this up, check right now in the video description. It should be there. If it's not, message me and call me an idiot because I forgot to put it in there, but I should have a Strava Beacon that is in the description right now. You click that, you go to Strava, you watch me on the entire route. Additionally, add me on Facebook, Instagram, if you want to. I'm going to accept you no matter what. I'm too much of an open book, but if you want to follow my journey there, like I said, I'm going to be doing live updates, posting them constantly along the route. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. If you just want to follow me using YouTube, that's all good too, because I'm going to have some videos on this. I'm going to have a lot of footage. Hopefully I finish. And win or lose, I'm still going to have an adventure and I'm still going to bring you information about this race. I'll see. I say that, I'm kind of second guessing, but if I don't complete it this weekend, I may in fact try it again in a couple weekends, but I don't want it to come to that. I really want to finish it this weekend. I want to have an adventure. I don't want to put too much stress on my family. So I'm really going to try hard. I'm really going to try to see this thing through. And I'm really hoping to do something amazing and to inspire you to go out and do this route too, or find a local FKT in your area and do that route. Even if it's something shorter, if it's a out and back, just go do it. Like you go on the FKT website, look in your area, you can find routes and go, shit, let me see if I can do that. Just go do it. That's what I'm doing with this thing. I saw the route. We've been talking about it in the Facebook group, and I went, yeah, I want to be one of the few people that has the motivation and the skill to do this. The motivation is number one. The skill, that's number two. This is, like I said, as much a test of mental endurance as it is physical. Andy Matthews, he completed this route with not a smile on his face the whole time. And if you've seen Andy, he's a great runner, but he's not in the physical best shape of his life right now. And even he'll tell you that. And he pushed through this with tenacity. He was leaning, he had trekking holes. He struggled a lot, but he showed one of the greatest feats of mental endurance that I've ever seen. And he really proved why he was a legend completing this. So if he can do this with a bad back, with destroyed legs, on sheer willpower alone, then Jesus, I should be able to do it too. Not comparing myself to him, but just I should be able to show at least a fraction of the tenacity and the strength that he did. At least I'm hoping that I can show that. And I'm hoping that I can prove that, you know, I'm a tough son of a bitch too. And if I'm not, then I'm well on my way there. So I got a lot to prove, not to you guys, but to myself. Okay, so now that is over with, that rambling's over with, I really hope that you stuck with me to this point. I really hope that you wanted to hear what I had to say, that you're interested in this journey. Even if, I say this, even if it's just like 2 of you out there that are inspired by this, or that watched me and thought that I, you know, wasn't full of shit. This is why I do this. This is why I make these videos. So I'm off. Message me if you want. I'm probably not going to be responding to too many messages. I'll probably just be posting updates, maybe 1 or 2 things here and there. But please follow me on this journey. Wish me luck. And I hope to inspire you to do something batshit crazy and insane just like this. Yeah, let's do this. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to do something amazing.